garage with Matt Moreman, getting a tour.
Matt, brother, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming. We have 2,000 square feet. You can see here that I don't have enough room, so my media guys are in the entryway. So they're stuck here.
Media guy.
Do you have a desk?
I do.
Okay. Do you have a desk in the entryway?
Kind of.
Bryce is on vacation, but we have two, Mike and Bryce, do all the product creation. They edit my videos. It's been a godsend to me. In the beginning, I did it all myself.
So you didn't post a lug nut post this morning?
I did post that.
Just checking.
I still do a lot because I'm a control freak. But this is our podcast studio that now is Chris's office. Chris is he manages the business. He does bookkeeping, accounts payable, accounts receivable. He just shakes his head at all the stupid crap that I buy when we're supposed to be on budget, and I blow that budget up every single month. But this is where we do our live podcast. We'll be doing it here at like 2 p.m. And so part of what I've spent most of my time on is making sure that I can live in the clouds and not be in the detail. And so I have a business coach. As my coach, I spend a lot of time talking about humans. And the coach comes in and meets with department heads. So Bryce, Chris, my dad are heads, even though we're small. You know, we're cultivating a culture where
It can grow.
Correct. So we can grow quickly and easily, and I don't have to be in the weeds. I can be doing what I'm doing right now, which is what I'm best suited to do. And so we record this live on a Mac Pro, and we do live once a week here. And Chris is the moderator for it. I came up with the idea. I'm like, I really need somebody to keep me under control. He doesn't really do that, but he asks questions and I go off. Yeah. So
I don't have a degree from Villanova, but I did.
So that's helpful.
In 1998, go to the summer basketball program.
Okay, cool.
Fun. Never did anything with it, but fun fact.
That's my wife, Michelle, and her BFF.
Hey, BFF.
Hi.
Oh, shoot. And so the general concept longer term would be to have stations. These are all Lista cabinets, to have industrial grade packing and assembly stations. So my dad runs all logistics for the business.
There is.
So my dad is in charge of making sure that orders are picked, packed, and delivered in a timely fashion. We generally get things out same day. If we have it, supply is always an issue.
You drop the comment and broke the fitting, it shows up the next day.
We try to, yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. So my concept of the business, though, is that the customer isn't always right. I don't like that crap. We're in this together. So I sold you a pressure washer. I'm gonna fix it. If you start yelling at me, I'm gonna tell you to get lost. We're in this together. We're in a relationship. You just because you bought something from me doesn't mean that I owe you something, and you don't owe me something. I buy stuff from you. You buy stuff from me. We're in a relationship together. That's the general concept. And so you saw Ron was here earlier. I was selling a bunch of stuff. He'll never call and complain and return stuff. He'll just, we're in this together.
Yeah, it's just communication.
And I want people to have access to me, access to the team, access to the business and the brand, and I want to do it a little bit differently. I want to do it not in a transaction, but do it as a true relationship. So the whole thing got started with this darn pressure washer right here. So in 2016, I talked to Phil at Detailer's Domain, and he told me I wanted to send him referrals, and I wanted to split it with him. And he said, Matt, there's no margins in this game. I can't do that. I'd be happy for the referrals, but I just can't do that. But if you want to send them, that's cool. And so I took him at his word. I said, there are no margins in this game, so I'm not going to even mess with it. I'll just do affiliate marketing and set it up that way. And what happened was Phil and I were at SEMA, and we were talking about trying to figure out how to get set up so that we could fulfill through Amazon, and Amazon shut my account down. I tried to set up Amazon Pay because I was selling my t-shirts. I just started selling them, and it triggered some sort of fraud alert or something, and my account got shut down. And I woke up to the fact that, man, I'm building something here. I think I'm onto something, but I'm building it on somebody else's land, and they can shut me down anytime they want. And so I got on the phone and I said, I think I'm using this pressure washer in the videos, and I have fittings, and I've got a foam cannon, and I've got all these parts from all over the place, and I've got an American inlet hose and garden hose fittings, and I'm always sending, people are emailing me saying, how do I get that? What products do I need? I'm sending a link of 12 different places to go and get all this stuff, and I realized how much of a pain that was.
Yep.
It's hard for me to send them links, and then people would try to go buy it, and it's a pain in the rear. Sometimes it's in stock, out of stock, and then they're emailing me back.
They don't speak English.
Yeah, they're emailing me back saying, well, okay, I got it all, now how do I put it together? And I'm like, I bet you there's some people who would want to buy this as a package. What if I curated the American inlet hose, the Chinese fittings, the Italian gun, the Swiss wand, and put it all together as a package? And so I added it all up, and it was $1,500. I'm like, oh crap, no one's going to buy that. But I think people might. My Porsche guys will buy it for sure. And so I reserved. I was at 15 guns, 15 wands, 15 foam cannons, 15 sets of quick disconnects. Asked and reserved 5 pressure washers. By the way, none of the companies would let me sell it at first. They just wouldn't let me do it. So it took me several months to convince them to let me buy it at a wholesale price. And I released 13 videos of all the fittings of each part and piece, and I lost 5,000 subscribers instantly, because people are like, this guy's jumped the shark. Now he's selling stuff. Mm-hmm. But I also had.
It's not entertainment anymore. Now it's a business.
So I woke up that morning. I lost 5,000. I only had 70,000 subscribers. Now I had 68 or 64, but I had several hundred emails in my inbox that says, when you have that, I want it. And so January of 2017 is when I launched this pressure washer, and I think we sold $60,000 worth of them that first month. And then from here on out, then I started trying to develop relationships with you guys and everybody else. And in the beginning, Rupes wouldn't let me sell the stuff, and CarPro wouldn't let me sell the stuff, and Adams wouldn't let me sell the stuff. No one would let me do it. So I had to beg and plead, and by the time I got to you guys, I'd already developed some sort of a reputation. Word started to get around that just let this guy do his thing, and he'll sell crap for you. And when you're trying to build something, so this was the next concept, was I wanted something on my wall at the previous garage I was renting, and so I dreamt this thing up. I can't believe how many we've sold. We're probably in the 1,000 range.
How many gallons though per? Where are we at down with that?
So this will do 300 gallons of water.
So that's
it's the same as that. Yeah, that's the cart model, and that's the.
Got it. I do like the built-in TDS though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not with Georgia well water.
Yeah, then you're going to be 200 parts per million, and you're going to blow through this, and in a couple of weekends. Yeah. So this is another concept, and then the idea was to have every solution possible. Hose reels, I found cocks. I found cocks at SEMA. I went to SEMA 2 years ago, and I'm like, I just want the best. I want the best hose reel, and I started searching. I went over to Apex, and that's where I found them. But I didn't like their hose. So here's a pretty good example of where I think I can add value. These guys are messing with me, freaking Corvette. I'm not a Corvette guy, but I bought one. So here's where I think that I can add value to the world. This is a good example. So Prevost is a company out of France that nobody knows anything about or knew anything about. And I'm at SEMA, and Kevin Brown walked me by the Prevost booth, and my head exploded. I'm like, this is the greatest stuff I've ever seen in the world. And so their website has a photo like this, from this far away, of a fluid swiveling coupler. And so I'm looking at this, I'm like, how does this work? How in the world, it's a 90-degree bend? What do you mean it's a swivel? Well, when you see it in person, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So this is a $97 coupler where they have a tiny little, low resolution picture, no description. It's just called a swivel coupler. It's 97 bucks. Now I own it. It's the most fantastic thing in the world, but how are you supposed to know what it does and how it works? And so my value to the world is to hopefully be able to provide people with, well, here's how it works. In video, take photos, write a description.
Case in point, our one guy got a comment up in Wisconsin. We were talking to him last night driving down, and he's like, I wish I got it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But I should have ordered the swivel thing.
Yeah, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know? You know, when your hose gets bound up. And so I take a Cox hose reel, yank their hose out of it, and then I eventually convince them to not send their hose with it. I put my own hose in it, but the cool thing about these, like a normal hose reel, would rip your face off, but this is nice, slow,
and break
controlled.
the $18 million camera.
Yeah, so these have something called Easy Coil. And so I want to be able to provide solutions like this, modify them, and make them better.
That's it.
And
have fun doing it.
Yeah. And then stuff like this. You guys know Sonic well because they're in your neighborhood. But stuff like this to be able to show people as a third party, someone who's, you know, I don't work for them, as a third party to say, you know what, the Sonic inserts and their tools are really good, but their inserts are best in the world, best in class.
And then sometimes you just have to have a guy putting film on a bike behind you and just peacefully just acting like he's not here.
Yeah, it's my Yeti SB100.
So
that's going on next week.
So Jordan, who's holding the camera, had a question about the M1.
The 1M?
Yeah. There we go.
Big difference.
Sorry, Bimmer guy.
About the giveaway part of it?
Why would he give it away?
Well, the 1M and the M3 are very similar, you know, as far as, you know, as function.
Except the numbers and the letters are swapped.
Yeah, well, the M3 is a little bigger. The M3 is a naturally aspirated V8, where the 1M is a N54 twin turbo, you know, inline six.
You're talking his language right now. He wants to put the camera down.
So the 1M, you know, is shorter wheelbase. It's a little more fun to drive around town, but I'm an NA guy. I like naturally aspirated horsepower. It's more fun. I like that instant snap throttle response. I like to hear the intake. I don't care for blow off and
whooshy
torque.
turbo noises.
Yeah. And so the 1M was a car that I've always wanted to experience, but never wanted to own long term. And so you see all these other goofballs doing giveaways. I'm like, I could do that way better. You know. And
you had a spreadsheet of yours.
Yeah, I did. So there's still a little arrogance in there.
Yeah.
But I said, you know, I want to do it the way that I would want to, if I was going to participate, because I don't do lotteries and raffles and that kind of thing. But if I'm going to do it the way that would convince me to buy a t-shirt. And then I'm going to send them a t-shirt that's better than any t-shirt they've ever bought, because I want them to buy another t-shirt someday. And so it was a way to convince people to sign up for my membership program, where I share stuff like this, really personal business type stuff. And so I used it as a way for people to, you know, market it. And so the car, I think I spent about $95,000 on the car. You know, all the parts and all the work. We put, you know, CSL, paint corrected it, and, you know, made the car look fantastic. Put HREs on it, Brembos, and gave it away to a really cool guy in Sarasota. He actually lives 2 hours from here, and it really worked out great. So I think I made like $80,000 on the deal, positive. So it was a good gig, good deal. All right, brother. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for bringing the crew,
the squad,
coming out to my little obsessed haven. Or this is my little anger zone here, where I spend lots of time polishing, breaking knuckles. Look, I'm bleeding right now.
That's what happens when you go
from
American.
this weekend. Yeah.
So we're bringing a little bit of the Haven to our SEMA booth.
I'm gonna try to, yeah.
That's the plan.
Of course, you let me know 4 days before it needs to be done.
So this happened on the road trip last night. We found out about this. So we're gonna get it together. You're gonna delegate like you do.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to.
We'll have some of this there. It'll be
Cool.
good.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out.
Man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. See you soon.